What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Islam revealed what he said to Craig Jones inside the octagon right after UFC 322, clearing up the moment that had fans guessing online. As the broadcast showed Islam walking over to Craig, many wondered whether it was a heated exchange or just some light banter. After the fight, Islam explained exactly what happened. He said he told Craig that his jiu-jitsu wasn't working, and that if he really wanted to improve, he needed to come to Dagestan for 2 to 3 years. Islam said it in a calm, almost joking tone, making it clear he wasn't trying to start any drama. He just wanted to send a message that high-level MMA grappling is a different world compared to pure jiu-jitsu. When he was asked what Craig said back to him, Islam laughed and shared that Craig actually took it well. According to him, Craig started laughing and even told Khabib that he would come to Dagestan. The exchange ended on a friendly note, showing that despite all the tension surrounding JDM's performance and the criticism aimed at his coaching, Islam kept things respectful. He simply pointed out that certain grappling styles don't translate the same way in a real fight, and offered what he called proper Dagestan training as the solution. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Ian Gary didn't hold back when reacting to JDM's performance, calling it the weakest title defense he's ever seen in the UFC. He said straight up that the showing was disappointing, adding that he was sending M&Ms and commiserations to JDM because, in his words, it was one of the softest defenses in the division's history. According to Gary, JDM's preparation looked almost non-existent, and from the moment the fight began, he felt like the energy was off. He questioned whether JDM could stay in the fight mentally or physically, and to his surprise, things unfolded far easier for Islam than he expected. As the rounds went on, Gary pointed out that Islam had already delivered 3 full rounds of domination. He kept repeating that JDM didn't look like he knew how to fight in that moment, saying it was a perfect night for him personally because Islam winning lined up with what he wanted next. Gary added that if JDM lost, Leon would get sparked, and the only thing that would make the night better would be if JDM's nose bent to the other side of his face. He described JDM's expression as broken, convinced he didn't want to continue. He even joked that coaches should tell him to grab a leg, take a shot, do something, but it was all slipping away. When Islam closed the show, Gary called it ahead of time, saying the result was guaranteed. The moment the fight ended, he celebrated, saying, "Hey, done, game over, see you later, I'm going home, take care." He then threw out a jab, suggesting a matchup like JDM versus Koos Patches would make sense next, while he set his eyes on the real goal, a showdown between him and Islam, which he insisted is the fight he wants more than anything right now. Moving on to another news, Khamzat reacted moments after UFC 322, going live as soon as Islam captured the welterweight belt and made history. The middleweight champ didn't hesitate to acknowledge how massive the moment was, not just for Islam, but for all of Russia. Even though becoming a 2-division champion was one of Khamzat's biggest long-term goals, he showed absolutely no bitterness. Instead, he kept everything respectful and positive, giving Islam full credit for the achievement and saluting the entire Khabib team for their work. During the live stream, Khamzat spoke calmly and with genuine admiration. He said the accomplishment wasn't just another title win, but a historic milestone for the sport. Seeing Islam rise from lightweight dominance to capturing a second belt at welterweight impressed him deeply. He highlighted how Islam's discipline, consistency, and ability to control every fight made him look like a machine inside the octagon. Khamzat acknowledged that while he once hoped to be the first Russian 2-division champ in UFC history, Islam earned that honor fair and square through sheer performance. He congratulated Islam for becoming the first Russian to hold titles in 2 different weight classes simultaneously, calling the achievement history made in the UFC. He emphasized that moments like this don't come often, and when they do, they deserve full respect from fans and fighters alike. Khamzat pointed out that Islam's rise has been nothing short of impressive, not just because he wins, but because of the way he dominates with precision, confidence, and relentless pressure. He ended his message by giving a heartfelt shout out to Islam, the team, and everyone who worked behind the scenes to make this chapter possible, reminding fans that greatness often comes from years of unseen hard work and dedication. Moving on to another news, the chaos from UFC 322 took an unexpected turn after Dillon Danis was officially banned from all future UFC events following a massive brawl that erupted in the crowd. During the event, Dillon got into a heated altercation with members of Khabib's team, and what started as tension quickly exploded into a full-blown brawl brawl that sent the entire section into mayhem. According to Dana White, the situation could have been avoided, and he put the blame on himself for allowing Dillon to stay in the building. Before the main card even started, security informed Dana that Dillon was wandering around, taking seats that belonged to other UFC fighters and refusing to sit in the spot his ticket assigned to him. They asked Dana if they should throw him out, but when he heard Dillon had a valid ticket, he decided to let him be, telling staff to keep an eye on him instead of escalating things. What Dana didn't consider, as he later admitted, was that Khabib's entire crew was sitting within the first few rows to support Islam. Meanwhile, Jorge Masvidal had already said earlier that it was on site the moment he saw Dillon. With Masvidal sitting only a few rows away and Khabib's team positioned right next to Dillon, the environment was already primed for trouble. As Dana explained it, the moment the brawl broke out, he instantly knew what had happened. He said he was on the opposite side of the arena when he heard the eruption of chaos, but the second he looked over, he recognized exactly what he had feared would unfold. Dillon was reportedly confronted by members of Khabib's team, and the situation turned violent almost immediately. Fans around the section started scrambling as punches were thrown, and security rushed in to break things up. The footage showed a wave of crowd movement triggered by the clash, with people shouting, pushing, and trying to get out of the way. Dana said that after he saw how quickly it escalated, the decision became obvious. He stated clearly and firmly that Dillon Danis would never attend a UFC event again. Despite the chaos and Dillon's involvement, Dana also mentioned that he would not be pressing any charges, choosing instead to simply cut all ties and move forward. He repeated that he blamed himself for not removing Dillon earlier, saying he underestimated how volatile the situation could become with so many tensions surrounding the event. In the post-fight press conference, Dana emphasized that this kind of behavior is exactly what he refuses to allow in the UFC environment. He explained that he thought Dillon would just sit in his seat and behave once he was told to stay put. Instead, everything spiraled into one of the wildest crowd incidents in recent UFC history. Dana ended his statement by confirming once again that this was Dillon's last appearance at a UFC event, making it clear that the decision was final. Moving on to another news, Islam reacted to Dillon Danis' altercation with his team at UFC 322, saying that Dillon got exactly what he asked for after talking about him and his team for the past 5 years. Islam made it clear that when someone spends years speaking disrespectfully about you or your team, there comes a moment when they have to answer for their words, and that's exactly what happened during the chaos at Madison Square Garden. He explained that Dillon had said a lot of bad things about his team over time, and when faced with them in person, he had to deal with the consequences. Islam also weighed in on the severity of the situation, joking that Dillon should probably be banned from the entire country, not just UFC events. He referenced Dana White's announcement that Dillon is banned from UFC events for life, confirming that he will never step foot in another card again. According to Islam, the altercation was simply the result of years of disrespect catching up to Dillon, and it was inevitable that tensions would boil over. Reports also emerged regarding those involved in the fight. Chenko, also known as John Pork, was allegedly part of the brawl and was seen in videos landing strikes on Dillon. He later posted a photo on social media with Jorge Masvidal, showing a bloody knuckle on his right hand, likely from the altercation. There has been no official statement from Dillon regarding any injuries, though social media reports suggest he may have been TKO'd at one point during the confrontation. Damon Martin confirmed with the NYPD that no arrests were made in relation to the incident. He tweeted that the police were not notified of any arrests during the event at Madison Square Garden. Despite the chaos, Islam's reaction highlighted that this was the natural outcome of years of provocation, and he stressed that the focus should remain on respect and accountability in the sport. The altercation will be remembered as a dramatic, controversial moment at UFC 322, but for Islam and his team, it was simply the resolution of a long-standing conflict. Moving on to another news, Ali Abdelaziz made it clear during an interview with Full Send MMA that Islam has no plans of returning to 155. According to Ali, the welterweight division is Islam's new home, and the move is permanent. He explained that the cut to lightweight had taken a toll on Islam for years, and now that he's at 170, everything feels smoother, healthier, and far more manageable for the champion. Ali said that with less strain on his body, Islam will actually be able to fight more frequently, instead of long gaps between fights because of tough weight cuts. Ali believes Islam can step into the octagon every 3 to 4 months with no issues at all. He mentioned that the team will be talking with the UFC soon to figure out the next move, but the weight class itself is no longer up for debate. Islam is staying at welterweight, and Ali sounded confident that this is the version of the champion fans will be seeing from now on. When he was asked whether we might see Islam compete before the scheduled appearance at the White House, Ali said it doesn't matter either way. The timeline isn't the priority. What matters is that Islam is now in a weight class where he feels strong, fresh, and ready to stay active. Ali repeated that Islam doesn't need to cut massive amounts of weight anymore, which means no more long layoffs or difficult recovery periods. He wrapped up the conversation by firmly stating that 170 is Islam's division, and there's no going back down to 155. He emphasized that fans should expect to see him fight at welterweight from here on out, fully locked in and more prepared than ever to defend his position at the top. Moving on to another news, Ali Abdelaziz didn't hold back when he was asked about Craig Jones, and he made it clear that he believes Jones played a big role in JDM's poor performance. During the conversation, Ali called Craig bad for MMA, saying his approach doesn't translate well into real fights. He argued that pure jiu-jitsu tactics don't help fighters the way some people think they do, especially when the focus becomes too narrow and removes the urgency needed inside the octagon. Ali went as far as to say, "Greg Jones, please deport him, brother," adding that he believes Jones makes fighters move in ways that just aren't effective for MMA. He insisted that jiu-jitsu on its own isn't enough, and that certain submissions and setups like the boogie choke don't work in high-level MMA scenarios. According to Ali, JDM could have done much better if he had focused on escaping and scrambling instead of relying on jiu-jitsu sequences that don't serve him well in real fight situations. When the interviewer asked if he felt disrespected by Craig, Ali brushed it off instantly. He said Craig is nobody, describing him as just a jiu-jitsu guy trying to stay relevant by attaching himself to MMA fighters. Ali made it clear that he doesn't take anything Craig says seriously, and that none of his comments hold weight in the actual competitive landscape of MMA. He wrapped up by emphasizing that MMA requires a complete skill set, not flashy jiu-jitsu tricks, and he believes coaches like Craig do more harm than good when they try to force pure grappling concepts into a sport that demands a broader, more adaptable approach. Moving on to another news, Dana White shared his reaction to Islam's win over JDM during the post-fight press conference, and he didn't sugarcoat his thoughts. Dana admitted the fight wasn't the most exciting title matchup fans have ever seen, saying it lacked the type of back-and-forth action people usually hope for in a championship bout. But at the same time, he emphasized that what Islam delivered was pure, undeniable dominance from start to finish. Dana pointed out that sometimes dominance doesn't always come with highlight reel moments, but it still shows exactly how elite a fighter truly is. He explained that Islam controlled every second of the fight, shutting down JDM's offense, staying composed, and maintaining complete command of the pace and direction of the matchup. For Dana, that level of control speaks louder than wild exchanges or dramatic finishes. He went on to say that depending on what the UFC decides to do next with Islam, and depending on who he faces moving forward, the lightweight turned welterweight champion is now firmly on the path toward GOAT status. Dana made it clear that Islam's resume is stacking up, his skill set is unmatched, and his consistency is pushing him into conversations reserved for the greatest fighters of all time. In Dana's words, it wasn't thrilling, but it was dominant, and that dominance is exactly why he believes Islam is heading toward GOAT talk. Moving on to another news, Islam reacted to the comments Ilia made after UFC 322, and the exchange quickly turned into one of the biggest talking points of the night. Yesterday, Ilia took some sharp shots at both Islam and JDM, posting a message on X that immediately stirred the fan base. He claimed JDM needed an entire camp focused only on wrestling, calling him a disappointment of a champion, and saying he should go to Georgia to learn the fundamentals. Then he turned his fire toward Islam, saying emotion is something you can't train, calling Islam the most boring thing in the sport, and insisting that each day he becomes more certain he would put him to sleep. At the post-fight press conference, Islam was asked about those comments. He didn't look bothered at all. He said he doesn't care who comes next because whoever it is, he's going to make it look easy. When a reporter brought up Ilia's exact words, asking what he thought about being labeled the most boring fighter in the UFC, Islam simply brushed it off. He reminded everyone that he told the media earlier in the week to ask him about Ilia after the fight, and now that the moment had come, he still had the same calm energy as always. Islam explained that he felt no injuries, no pain, and no lingering issues from the fight, saying he was completely ready for whatever challenge comes next. He repeated that it didn't matter who the UFC put in front of him. If Ilia wants to fight, if he wants to test everything he said online, then they can make it happen. In Islam's words, "Who is going to be next? Let's do this, and I will make it easy." He delivered the message with confidence, making it clear that none of the trash talk affects the way he performs or the way he approaches his next move. Moving on to another news, Dana White shared his thoughts on the possibility of Islam facing Ilia Topuria next, emphasizing that the decision ultimately lies with Islam himself. During the discussion, Dana was asked about the potential for Islam to be featured on the upcoming White House card and whether it would need to follow an America versus the world theme for promotional purposes. Dana clarified that the focus isn't about national rivalries or themes, but rather about putting together the best card possible. He stressed that the priority is always creating matchups that fans want to see and that make sense for the fighters' careers. When asked specifically if Islam could end up on the White House card, Dana admitted that it is a possibility. He mentioned that Islam is already entering GOAT talk territory, depending on how he performs in his next couple of fights. Dana highlighted that if Islam continues to dominate and maintain his current level of skill and consistency, there's a strong chance he could be featured on major events like the White House. Dana also pointed out that the UFC always evaluates matchups and storylines based on merit and fan interest, rather than nationality. In this sense, a non-American main event is entirely plausible if it delivers excitement and competitive value. He reiterated that Islam's next fights will play a critical role in determining his future placement on high-profile cards, and that the promotion will work with him to ensure the best opportunities align with his career trajectory. In summary, while nothing is officially confirmed, Dana made it clear that Islam Topuria is on the radar for major events, including the White House, and his continued success could lead to some of the most anticipated matchups in the division. Moving on to another news, Sean O'Malley shared his reaction to Islam's performance against JDM and the potential matchup everyone is talking about. He said he wants to see Ilia win his next fight because Islam versus Ilia would be one of the biggest and most skillful fights in MMA history. In his words, it would be almost impossible to beat in terms of pure technique and high-level talent. Sean explained that he doesn't see anyone in the division avoiding the kind of dominance Islam showed. He pointed out that we still haven't truly seen Ilia pushed in deep grappling situations. He mentioned Bryce Mitchell as a high-level grappler and acknowledged that Ilia handled that fight well, but he believes Islam operates at an even higher level. Sean praised both fighters' complete skill sets, saying they are rare 10 out of 10 athletes in MMA, the type who can strike, wrestle, and use jiu-jitsu at an elite level. He compared their all-around abilities to the kind of versatility fans once saw in Jon Jones. Sean added that in a fight between two athletes that skilled, size might end up playing a real role, and that could be where Islam has an advantage.